me about it. Come on, let's talk about it. Change up the things you see. Open your mind to possibilities. Find your power, passion, and your purpose. You know it's time for you to walk in greatness. Let's murder mediocrity. Slay your goals, live out your dreams. Right now. Inspirational perspective.
Often I'll have a topic. I don't necessarily realize how important the topic is until resistance hits. Now, if you're not familiar with resistance, right? Resistance is an invisible force that gets between you and an intention or a commitment, right? And so it's an invisible force. It's something that you can't necessarily see, but you can feel it. And let me tell you, last Sunday, boy, did I feel it. I mean, I felt it. I was sharing with Ade, who's in the studio with me, that I really don't know what hit me, but like everything was spinning. I'm thinking about, what did I eat the night before? What did I do outside of maybe being lacking a little rest, which is like, it's not like that's abnormal to be like, oh, I only got 6.5. I should have got 7, things like that. Outside, I'm like, man, what happened? What did I do that caused this? So anyway, I called Ade. He was gracious enough to work to get the recording you heard, which is like, it was the closest I could get to what I wanted to share. And the name of that recording, if you didn't listen, was the name of it was Are You Really Number One in Your Own Life? That was the name of it. Are you really number one in your own life? And I'm going somewhere, so stick with me. So the recording, the recording played, and then fast forward. Now, mind you, I'm like, all right, whatever happened last week, I know there must be something about what I intend to share that I got to be more thoughtful about, more intentional about, more prayerful about, you name it. So, all right. I even told my wife, I even told my wife, by the way, I haven't had throat issues all week. So it's stuff like this, right? Where I'm like, whatever I need to share today, it's just like weird things are happening. Anyway, so I told my wife, I said, hey, I need to be in bed by 9 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? I need to be in bed by 9 o'clock Saturday night because I can't let just, anything that I can do to control, right? Anybody knows me, I believe in operating within my circle of influence, not in my circle of concern. So I can't control anything that I can't control, but the things I can control, like getting in bed, etc. Anyway, I need to be in bed by 9 o'clock. So I leave the house early today, right? 3 accidents. Now, Ade, let me ask you a question. Your mic is hot, I believe. Yeah, and Titus is here this morning, so good to have you, Titus.
Thank you for having me.
I was sharing with Ade that, man, Titus used to be with me on Saturday nights. You remember that, Titus?
Oh, yeah.
Saturday nights, 10 p.m.
Yes.
So, anyway, I'm on 290 this morning, right? I've done everything I know how to do. 3 accidents. Not 1. Not 2. 3.
It's a little unprecedented.
That's a little weird, right?
Yeah.
Would you say that's a little weird? Ade, you come to the studio with me in the morning. Is that a little weird?
Very, yeah.
Yeah, that's a little weird, right? One happened right in front of me. So there's something about what I intend to teach today that there's been an enormous amount of resistance to this. I just want to start with that. And if that resistance hit me like this, then consider for the listener, you will experience your own level of resistance paying attention to this, right? Like weird things are probably going to happen, text messages, emergencies, all kinds of things. So do whatever you can, if you can't listen straight through as a listener, to get back to the recording. How we relate to ourselves. That's today's topic, like how we relate to ourselves. The whole idea of being human. Now, for those of you who heard the show, How We Relate to Money, that show caught a lot of attention, like it had legs and it ran, right? In terms of views on Facebook, etc., emails I got, all kinds of things. Like it had, and there's something about money. You talk about money, everybody's like, oh, I need to listen. I even said in that show, like, wake up your friends. Like, if they want to change their perspective on money, this is a big deal. I shared that. Now, in contrast, I want us to notice, because this is the sequel to How We Relate to Money. But I want us to notice, because when you say how we relate to ourselves, that's just not as sexy. That's just not as sexy. But here's the deal. How you relate to yourself is also how you relate to money. So I can't spend that time talking about money all day, right? How we relate to money and all the things I said around money without, like, I would leave you in some way incomplete.
Yeah.
Right? If I said all that about money and then we didn't talk about us, I didn't talk about myself, I didn't have you take a look at yourself, like, it would be incomplete. So this is the sequel. Now, if you remember, one of the things that I said repeatedly during that show, I asked you to stick with me, because the only thing I want to sell you over the course of this show is how you can make yourself better mentally, emotionally, and financially. And the only cost is your attention. That's it. And I know that that's expensive. That's what I said. Now, I got emails, I got comments and all kinds of things about how great that show was. Oh, Linnell, thank you. Thank you. And if you haven't heard it, like I said, you can go to facebook.com/Coach Linnell Harris. Thank you, Linnell, right? Because we're talking about money. Now, today, I want to talk about you. I want us to take a look at ourselves and understand that you are the full reflection of your financial situation. Right? So we got to talk about ourselves. We're going to talk about money. Like, I just want to put that out there. So I want us to bring the same energy to us. I need to bring the same energy to me that I want to bring to money. Does this make sense?
It does.
Mm-hmm. All right. It makes sense? Okay.
Yep.
It was tough getting to this mic today. It was tough. I hope that we have the same energy, share this, call your friends, all that we did with money, because it was tough, okay? Here's the first question. Like, I'm serious. Get them on the line. Get them on the line. Here's the first question. I shared this with my Slayer Goals members last Sunday. I couldn't make the show, but I did work with them. Here's the first question. Do you relate, and this is, I got Ade and Titus in the studio. I'm going to ask you all. I'm going to ask you first, Ade, because I think I know the answer. I know what you're going to say.
Okay.
Do you relate to yourself as an artist?
Yes.
Yeah. I kind of figured you would say that. For those of you who don't know Ade is the production genius and video editing resource that, anything that you see, Instagram, all that kind of stuff, the breakdown on YouTube, mm-hmm. He provides that, right? That takes some level of artistry. Now, let me ask you, Titus. Do you relate to yourself as an artist?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Now, gentlemen, I would like for you to provide me just a quick, synopsis of why. Why do you relate to yourself as an artist? Titus, go ahead, brother. Why do you relate to yourself as an artist?
I would say for myself that I start every day as painting a picture. And what I mean by that is when I wake up, I look at life as an open canvas of what I'm going to do, what are my goals, what are my passions, and how can I get that art on the canvas. And so I try to think of it that perspective instead of just thinking of it as, well, my career. With my career, I know this is an art field industry. I know that this has to do with, of course, production and radio and television broadcasting. I get that. But with life, I feel like it's more so of an open canvas to start that artistry, if that makes sense.
It does. Absolutely, 100%. It makes sense to me. Okay. What about you, Ade?
So a bit similar, but I definitely, take it seriously, and I kind of sort of what he said, like I don't look at it as a career. It's just something I do. I feel like I was made to do. Just my talents exude, this artistic, things to put out into the world, and eventually, hopefully, help others, tap into theirs as well. And so that's pretty much how I look at it when I wake up every day. And I just feel like, it's just something I have to do at this point, because that's my skill. I know that I'm good at, and so, that's pretty much how I feel,
Now, Titus, you said something interesting in terms of painting the tapestry of your day. Something like that, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now I want to broaden this a little bit. Do you all consider yourself artist of your life? Do you consider yourselves, and by the way, for you listening, I want you to sit with this question. Do you consider yourself an artist of your life? Speak when moved.
I can say that I consider myself one of the artists of my life. And what I mean by that is I know that every day will not be the same. Even though I try to create this canvas of what I want to do, of course, life always works in different ways. Okay. Everything doesn't go exactly according to your plan.
Yes.
And so I feel like the things that happen around me is also part of the artistry that helps create my life.
Got you. So the things that happen around you, and these are maybe the things you can't influence.
Correct.
They also go onto the canvas of your life.
Yes.
Okay. What has the most control, would you say? You or the things you cannot control?
I would say the things I cannot control. And the reason I say that is because of the fact of I can only control what I can control, only so much. But life always works out different around you versus your plan. You can have an overall plan and try to execute the plan, but things never always go according to plan. It's like you can try to paint that picture as much as you want to, but things will always happen no matter what. You just got to go with the flow of how those things work. And so I feel like that would have more creativity than myself.
Got you. Put on your seatbelt, Titus. What about you, Ade?
I kind of think that in the realm of things that I can't control, that it definitely is present. Like you can't control everything, but I think I come to learn that I just need to improve on, learning that I can't control most things that I guess I usually wouldn't think I would be able to. And that, if I stay ready within that space, then when the things that I can't control, I'll be ready for it.
Got you. Got you. Okay. Now, Titus, I get where you're coming from. Do you know Viktor Frankl?
No.
The author of the book Man's Search for Meaning. Have you heard this?
I heard of the book, yes.
Okay, you heard of the book.
Yes.
All right. Now, one of the things that he talks about is the power of being very clear about why you exist, right? And so, mind you, he had the experience of being in a concentration camp, so he couldn't control that.
Yes.
Right? But one of the things he talked about was those who persisted despite external influence, right? And those who caved in as a result of external influence. And one of the things he talked about is the clearer that we are on who it is that we be and how we're supposed to influence the things around us, right? Those things that we can't necessarily control, the more powerful we show up in life, despite circumstance. Having heard that, how might that influence your thoughts about the level of artistry you have in life? I'm just curious how that comes up for you.
Well, it seems like, with that being said, it seems like you're trying to take more control over the things you can't control. And what I mean by that is that you're going to make the most of the situation. You're not going to let those parallels come and bring you down. That's what it sounds like to me, per se.
Okay. And then would that impact the canvas of the day?
Yes.
Would you have more control over the canvas of the day than previous?
It sounds like you would have more control.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is the fact that even though you know the situations around you, you're still going to make the best of the situation. So it seems like you have more control over the situation at hand.
Got you. So if indeed I'm an artist and there's a canvas of my life, now, and think about how, I want to be clear about something, right? Because most artists, when we think about an artist who has a canvas, right, they have the distinct privilege of no interference. Yes. Right? There's no interference. And so there's a white canvas and they kind of go, and then, they may have, they may mess something up. But I did that. I did that. I chose that color. I put that, that's the wrong stroke, right? I did that. I only can be frustrated with myself. And I believe what happens to many of us is because we don't have the distinct privilege of the artist who has sole control, right?
Right.
Quote unquote, of their canvas, that because we don't have sole control, many of us relinquish control. Like, let's sit with that for a moment. Like, let's just sit with that. Like, since I don't have, and think of it this way. Here's the picture I want to paint. You're painting, you have a canvas, and you're painting the story of your life. Every day there's a new page. But also every day, someone who you don't know can throw a color on your canvas. Like, think about this. Like, in the context of artistry, would you be frustrated by that? Like, let's say right now you are on Ida B. Wells, Titus, and you had your canvas out, you had all your colors, and you're painting. And you're painting on the corner, and every time the light turns green, people walk across the street, and they just, some of them might just, blah, throw their fingers, blah, colors on your page. How long would you paint? How long would you continue to use the strokes of the brush to influence what others threw on your canvas? Or would you throw the brush down and say, this ain't it, and just kind of let people have their way? Like, how would you handle that?
I would say, for myself, I would say that I would keep continuing trying to paint the picture. And the reason I say that is because of the fact is that people come in general all over your life, throw things off, in the way, all types of things. But it's on you to control that narrative of how that interference happens in your life.
Yes, yes.
So I would continue, per se, painting the picture, even though I get frustrated, I get mad about it. But I got to keep going because, again, it's still my picture.
Ade?
I think that's one way to like control it. The other way you could control it by, kind of interpreting what they threw on it, make that a piece, and then have another canvas you already brought and go move to a different street and do it.
It's going to keep happening.
Yeah.
It's going to keep happening.
Yeah. So like
people are going to continue to throw things on your canvas that you didn't want there. Now, don't get married. Hold on. Because now there's somebody else who's constantly want to put their brush on your canvas. Bae, not that color. Not that color today, bae. Right? Then don't have children. Right? Because then you got two little paintbrushes and it's always at the bottom. Right? You're like, no, not that color at the bottom. I wanted that to be green. I wanted that to be blue. always at the bottom. Daddy, I like purple. That, you know, woo-woo-woo. And what I'm doing is I really want us to understand how we relate to life in a very different way, because what I believe is because so many people have access to our canvas, many of us have thrown the brush down.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
And then so much so that we won't even relate to ourselves as the artist and the creator of our lives anymore. Instead, we become a victim of everyone else's interpretation of what the canvas should look like. Now you see why it was hard for me to get to this?
Yes.
Why to this mic?
Yes.
Because what I want to do today is I want to shake you mentally, emotionally, and spiritually in a way maybe you haven't ever been shaken before. Because consider that at the end, no matter what is thrown on that canvas, you can influence it. The paint is still wet. Okay, so right now, I need for all of us to pick our brushes back up. You follow?
I'll follow you.
I need for you to pick your brush back up. This is the gift. It's my birthday week, and I want to give the gifts. You know, a lot of artists, a lot of influencers right now, will point to our day and say, scroll the Zelle. Scroll the Cash App.
Yeah.
It's my birthday. Yeah. I've been giving to you all year. I don't want to do that. All I want you to do is pick the paintbrush back up. That's the gift that you will give me. Right? Why? Because I know that some way, if you pick the paintbrush back up, you might have an influence on me. A good one. You may have an influence on my son. You might have an influence on my daughter, on my wife. And that's the gift I want. That's the gift I want. I want you to pick the paintbrush of your life back up and take control of your canvas. Will you do that for me?
I will.
Will you do that for me?
Yes.
Now, come Monday morning, when you get up, you start your day. The words that I just shared will be echoing in the distance. And the question is, even if you don't like the colors on the canvas, even if you feel like there's been more contribution to the canvas than normal, what will you do? What will you do? And this is a commitment I want you to make, not just for Monday, but for every day moving forward from now on. Like if you hear my voice, every day after this, what commitment will you make? I got these brothers in the studio, so I'm asking them, but I hope you verbalize your commitment right now. What commitment will you make, Ade?
Commitment to my health, commitment to my goals, for sure. Commitment to my family. Yeah.
You're gonna hold that paintbrush.
Yes, I'm gonna hold the paintbrush for sure. Yep.
No matter what color show up on the canvas.
Right, and yep.
You're gonna hold the paintbrush.
I'm gonna hold
You're gonna use the paintbrush.
Use it, create art.
Create the art that you intend.
Yeah, correct. Yep.
I wanted the sky to be bright with the sun, but people threw purple and greens and brown, so it looked like it's just gonna be a little overcast. But I still got control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh? Look like there's a storm in the distance, but I still got control. You follow, Titus?
follow.
What about you?
My goals, ambitions, my family, my health, my job, just overall trying to be a better me.
Yeah. So you're gonna hold the paintbrush?
Yes.
So let me ask you guys this question. I started here. In the second hour, we're going to take it a little deeper. Do you relate to yourself as an artist? Not just an artist, but the artist of your life.
Absolutely. Yes.
So it shifted a little bit for you?
I still feel like I'm the artist now.
Okay.
Even though the things that happen that are out of my control, that's again part of life, but I still feel like I am the artist.
You're the artist. You're the creator.
Yes.
Okay. What about you, Ade?
Yes, indeed. I'm definitely the artist of my life. Yeah.
Now, before we go to the hour, to the close of the hour, when we come back, I want to take this a step deeper. I want us to keep in mind that there is only one provider of the canvas. Every day you get a brand new canvas. Who might that provider be? Anyone want to take a guess, Titus, Ade? Who's the provider of the canvas? Who provides you the canvas where this beautiful art of life, this tough art of life, this difficult art of life, this glorious art of life, this joyous art of life, this grievous art of life, this blessed art of life? Who provides the canvas of this art? Ade?
I would say myself.
You? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Titus?
I would say life.
Life itself.
I think life itself provides the canvas.
Who is the provider of life? Who is the provider of life? Ade? Who might you believe as the provider of life? I know you like, this brother's digging to. Who might you say is the provider of life?
I would say the one above all, the Lord.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
He's the one that gives us a can. Like if I'm blessed to see Tuesday and experience 47 rotations around the sun, what I hear you saying is that the provider of that canvas, the provider of my birthday, my 47th birthday, right? Or as Mama D would say, Earth Day, right? The provider of that is the creator himself. Would you agree with that, Tom?
I would agree.
Okay. Okay. So there's only truly one force that can take your canvas away.
Yes. Agreed.
Now, if we only got a minute. Hold on. If there's only one force that can take my canvas away, then maybe that's the force that if I don't like what I see on the canvas, maybe that's the force that supports me in holding the brush and recreating the day. All right. Now you're starting to see why whatever hit me last Sunday hit me, and whatever resistance didn't want me to be here today was in the way. Now you start. Have you ever considered that every day is a creative work? Every day. Another way to put this is, have you ever considered that every day is your creative work? Now let's slide it, because according to the East, when I say the East, our Asian brothers and sisters, they created this diagram, this symbol called the yin yang. We all know that, right?
Yes.
And they say there's only one or two things that are operating in your life at any one time. Right?
Right.
Either the light or the dark. So as you have the brush, as you're using the brush, you're either being influenced by one of two things. It ain't no other way, right? It can't be another way. We covered the 4-part series, Understanding and Applying the Universal Laws. You got to go back and check that out, Titus.
I got to.
Okay. Understanding, and we see that according to the law of correspondence, as above, so below, according to the law of polarity, is either one or the other. Now, folks want to put things in the middle nowadays. They also want to say that you can say what it is, that you can define it. But it's either one or the other according to the universal laws. I'm just saying that's how the Creator made it. You can say what you want to say. You can say, well, I'm neutral. You can say, well, I don't believe in God. I don't believe in light and darkness. And if you don't believe in light and darkness, it's likely that you're in the dark, pun intended.
Yeah.
Pun intended. And that's not a laugh at you. I'm just saying that's like, hey, the joke's on you. Okay? So have you ever considered that every day is a creative work in which you collaborate with your paintbrush with either the light or the darkness?
Yes. Yes, because it's about your perception of how you start your day.
Okay.
And so you can choose to wake up and not be happy. You can choose to wake up and start your day off and feel happy.
Okay.
It's all
So
on
wait a
what you
second,
do.
Titus. Wait a second. Did you just say I can choose my feelings?
Yes.
Titus, somebody mad at you right now.
Oh, I know.
Somebody real mad
yeah.
at you right now. Somebody saying you don't understand my life.
Oh, yeah.
Because you saying that we have choice. We have volition.
Yes.
What about you, Ade? What do you say? Do we truly have this volition to choose our companion in creation? Light or dark?
Yeah, for sure. Like when you get up, it kind of starts off with your thoughts, and then they influence your emotions, and then
You ever
it goes
wake up
from there.
with dark thoughts?
Absolutely.
I like your honesty, Titus. I like your honesty. Some folks would be like, not me. No. No. I wake up with my mind stayed on Jesus. Stayed on Jesus. They don't want to admit that they have a shadow side. See, the better you know your shadow side, the easier it is for you to stay away.
Agreed.
Right?
Agreed.
Okay, let me read this real quick. So this is from it's a new book by Rick Rubin. It's called The Creative Act, A Way of Being. And this is, I got to do better sharing my books. I'm, on Instagram and stuff. I just be reading and put it down, move to the next one. But I just finished this book. I now moved on to another book that we'll be discussing soon. It's interesting. It's a geopolitical book, so it's a completely different, subject. But y'all want to listen if you like money. Okay. So, you might want to set your alarm for Sunday, 7 a.m. I'm just saying. Okay. Now, The Creative Act by Rick Rubin. Rick Rubin is an executive at Def Jam, etc. He starts the book, the first chapter of the book, he says, it's titled, Everyone is a Creator. So you have to imagine, like when I'm searching for books in the airport, etc. Anyone who knows me well knows that when I went, let's look at the contents. You have to know what influenced me to buy the book, because when I saw chapter 1, everyone's a creator, I said, I need to buy this. Right. So it's done. I'm done. Right. Now, then, after having purchased the book and reading the first couple of paragraphs, I'm going to read it to you. I was compelled to complete the book, 400 pages to complete this book. He says, quote, those who do not engage in the traditional arts might be wary of calling themselves artists. Now, you all engage in the traditional arts, right? And so you were like, I'm an artist, right? But someone out there is like, they don't engage in the traditional arts. They're like, I'm not an artist. Okay. He then goes on to say, quote, they might perceive creativity as something extraordinary or beyond their capabilities. A calling for the few special who are born with these gifts. The Jay-Z's of the world, right?
Right.
The Beyoncés of the world, the Picassos, right? That's now that's an artist. That's what they would say. Then he goes on to say, quote, fortunately, this is not the case. Fortunately for you all listening, right? Fortunate for those who don't think they're an artist, this is not the case. This is not the case. Creativity is not a rare ability. It is not difficult to access. Creativity is a fundamental aspect of, what's the subtitle of the show? Being human. It's our birthright. Now, who do we get our birthright from? Who do we get our birthright from? I need you to stick with me. Who do you get your birthright from? You don't get your birthright from your mama. You don't get your birthright from your daddy. Right? My children, while they may carry my genetic code and DNA, I don't own them. I'm a steward for the Creator. I'm a steward of their life path for the Creator. My job is to teach my son how to paint through his negativity. That's my job, right?
Right.
My job is to teach my son how to see his shadow. My job is to teach my son how to avoid walking in his shadow. Is it making sense?
No, it makes perfect sense.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. My job is to teach my son how to walk in his purpose so he can fulfill his birthright as a creator. It's your birthright. When you're born, you are given creative capacity as a right. Now, my daughter Rain is 11 months. By the way, she just started walking, y'all.
Oh, no.
Yeah, she started walking.
Awesome.
She's 11 months old. She'll be 1 year on the 28th. 1 year on the 28th. Now, she may not be able to hold the paintbrush yet. Right? She can't hold a spoon. Although she took it from me yesterday and put it in her mouth. You're not moving fast enough, Daddy. But, her ability to do it well is not there. Now, my son, he may not be the best painter, right? Which is why he needs stewardship. He needs me to hold the brush for him sometimes, right? That's the responsibility of the parent. It's one of the reasons why I don't believe that children have volition of gender. All right?
That makes sense.
Yeah, I just said it. I don't believe it. Why? Because scientifically, the neocortex is not fully developed. You need stewardship.
Right.
You need guidance. Okay? And by the way, I respect your opinion, respect mine. I respect you. I will listen to you. If you shared something. So, don't turn me off yet. It's just my opinion. Okay, it's just my opinion. I love you. Don't say I'm a phobic something or anything. I'm just my opinion. Or I'm just sharing my opinion this morning. Okay? I love you. I promise. If you know me personally, then you know that to be true. All right? Now, hold on. I just feel like I need to say this because the definition of intelligence, I just need to say this for somebody real quick. The definition of intelligence is the ability to hold two opposing thoughts at one time. Now, I didn't say that. The person who shared that, his name is Scott Fitzgerald. And Scott Fitzgerald's definition of intelligence is the ability to hold two opposing thoughts at the same time. So if you disagree with me, a mark of intelligence would be to hold a thought and stick with me. Is that fair?
That's fair.
Yeah. That's fair? Okay. Fair. That's fair? All right. Okay. Hold the thought and just stick with me. I like Scott Fitzgerald's thought on intelligence, right? Because if you came to me with your opinion, even if it was different from mine, I want to be intelligent. I want to be brilliant. I like to think of myself as somewhat intelligent. And so I would say, let me hear you out, Titus.
Right.
Let me hear you out, Ade. right? I don't necessarily believe that. I oppose that, but let me hear you out. Let me listen to everything that you have to say.
Right.
Okay? So stick with me. Stick with me. So the child's mind is they can't hold the paintbrush quite yet. So since they can't hold the paintbrush, we shouldn't be giving them full control. Rick Rubin goes on to say that after he said it's our birthright, and it's for all of us have the capacity to create. All of us should be holding the paintbrush. Creativity, quote, creativity doesn't exclusively relate to making art. We all engage in this act on a daily basis, end quote. All right. Now, he ends the chapter with, quote, your entire life is a form of self-expression. Whether you pick the paintbrush up or you let it stay on the floor, it's a form of self-expression. You are still creating by default. You are still creating by default. You exist, quote, you exist as a creative being in a creative universe, a singular work of art. Now, someone may be offended by what I just said. They might be already crafting a letter to Melody Span Cooper about me, okay? Now, this is my art. This is my art.
Right.
Right?
Right.
This is my creative expression. Would you walk inside the museum and see something on the wall and say, I hate that because it's purple. They should have never put it up. He should have never created it. Or would you go, not my taste, but I can appreciate the attempt.
Yeah.
That part.
Yeah.
Huh?
I agree with that
Yeah.
part.
Right? Well, see, we live in a culture now where we're like, take it off the wall.
Yes. Yes.
Take it off the wall. I'm just saying, we got to do better. How we relate to ourselves. The topic today, how we relate to ourselves. Now, here's where I want to spend the rest of our time. Rick Rubin, in his book, The Creative Act, Chapter 2 is tuning in. Tuning in. Now, you got to go read the book if you want more quotes. Okay?
Yes.
But what we're going to do now is we're going to tune in to our artistry. What are we creating? What we're creating is what I call the 4 pillars of life. We are actively, in this moment, creating our health and our well-being. We are actively, in this moment, creating our relationships around us. We are actively, in this moment, creating how we relate to money. And we are actively creating how we live out our purpose and how we tune in spiritually. Now, this must be said before I go deeper. This must be said before I go deeper. I hope y'all still love me. This must be said before I go deeper. It's my birthday, by the way, my birthday week. Right? This is the gift that I want to give. This is the gift that I'd like to give. All right? I'm not asking for your money. I'm not giving you my Cash App. I'm not giving you my Zelle. All I want is your attention for my birthday. So all I want you to do is pick up the paintbrush for my birthday. That's all I want you to do. Okay. Now, this whole idea of artistry and creation, let's validate this, okay? So God, and by the way, if you don't believe this, then I get if you can't track with this, okay?
Right.
And just stick with me, because again, intelligence is the ability to hold 2 opposing thoughts at one time. God is the creator of all things. God is the creator of all things. I know some of us think it happened in the Big Bang. What I would say is, I can rock with you on that if the creator made the bang.
Agreed.
All right? Okay. Now, he's the creator of all things. Then he did something special. My son not too long ago asked me, what's the difference between a human and an animal? Mm-hmm. What's the unique difference? And what I told him is, well, son, humans have dominion. And that dominion is our birthright. And that dominion was given to us by the Creator. I'm going somewhere. Now, why do we have dominion? Why do we have dominion? It's not just because, we have, one different chromosome in our DNA from our chimpanzee cousins, as some would say, right? It's not just that, okay? We have something intrinsically different from the chimpanzee. We have a piece of God, a piece of the Creator inside of us called the Spirit. Yes. And if the Creator is the manifestation of all things, if Yah is the creator of all things, if Allah, if I am that I am, is the creator of all things, and he gave me just a little small piece. It don't even have to, think about the magnificence of the creator. It don't even got to be, it could be like this, right? Just a little small dust of his spirit. What does that make me?
It makes you an artist.
Yes.
A creator. Yeah.
A creator. Mm-hmm. A creator. I dare say that makes me a creator.
Yes.
Right? Ain't no different. Legend and I could be walking. We were on vacation. We'd be walking through the hotel. He's walking next to me. Somebody say, you can't deny him. You can't deny that one. That's your boy. I say, yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's my boy, right?
Right.
Walk like me, look like me, hands like me, feet like me, legs like me. That's my boy. Mm-hmm. Right? So the Creator made us. I imagine on the realm of the universe, if it was something similar, someone, they would say to the Creator, you can't deny that one. You say, well, if you don't start acting right, I might. Right? But you get my point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why? We're made in the image of the Creator, and we have creative capacity. The problem is, many of us are not tuned in. We're not tuned in. We're not tuned in. So we got all this access. Think about this. You got all this access to power. Yeah, I said it that way on purpose. Power. P-O-W-A. You got all this access to power, and you're not using it.
Ooh.
Why? Because you're not tuned in. Woo!
Ooh, wow.
Woo! Now you see why I was dizzy last week when I woke up. I can't figure out why. What's going on? What's wrong with me? I can't come to the station this morning. Now you see why there was 3 accidents on the expressway this morning? Huh?
Yeah.
Because my purpose is to get you tuned in. Now you say, Linnell, I like that show you did on how we relate to money, but this one here, it feels different. But what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to get your pocket right. But in order to get your pocket right, I got to get you tuned in to your power. Because the only way you're going to get that money is you got to execute with power.
Drop on that one.
Yeah.
Mic drop.
Power. And the problem is, most of us, we got a lot of static. Even some of us, it ain't even on. We ain't even trying to move the dial. It ain't even on. We don't even got the power on. What I'm really sad about is I believe a lot of people, they say, hey, he sold his soul for fame. Mm. You hear that sometimes?
A lot.
Yeah.
Sold his soul for fame. What I'm really sad about is some of us don't even know that there's a lot, the same and more power on the right side, the light side. You don't got to sell your soul. You don't got to sell you might need to dedicate it, right?
Right.
To the creator. Yo, I'm going to let you have control, but you don't got to sell it. But the reason people do it is because they're not tuned in. I want power. I don't know how to tune in to the right power, to the light power. And so I'm going to sell myself for some kind of power.
Ooh.
And like I said, my brothers in the East say there's only two, yin and yang. There's only two, either it's light or dark. Which one are you tuned into? Be careful of people that are powerful who don't tell you where they got their power.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you where I get mine. You can't listen to me Sunday after Sunday and I don't mention the creator. I can't go a Sunday without mentioning the creator. I dare you be here all the time. Yeah. I mean, it just happens to come up. Am I right?
Yeah.
It just happens to come up.
Yep.
It just happens to come up. I mean, so you know who I'm tuned into. Okay. And if you're not talking about it, you better start talking about it and being about it, because there's only two, light and dark.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about it, that means that might be an influence of a shadow on you. Whew. Okay. So tuning in. Now we've identified that we have access to power. So now I have access to power. And what this requires is that I tune in to the creator. I tune in to my purpose so I can tune into my birthright.
Correct.
And pick the paintbrush up. Now, what am I painting? I'm painting my health.
Yes.
Some folks say, well, I don't have control. It's so hard. It's so hard. It's so hard to eat right. This sugar got me in a chokehold. It's because you're not asking for power. Hey man, look, don't relate to me as all that unique and different. The only difference is when I had trouble, I pray. I tune in. Okay, I'm having a difficult time right here. I need some help. Right. I'm turning the dial. Hey, I need a good connection. This is hard.
Interference is static.
Yeah. What they throwing on the canvas is starting to influence me. I feel like I can't work the paintbrush the way I normally work the paintbrush. I got to tune in. Linnell, you don't understand. My health is genetic. My mama had diabetes. My grandma had diabetes. It's just what it is. It is what it is. I say that's because you're not tuned in. Oh, and I'm not talking about your mama, I promise you. I promise you, because I know what you thought right away is, you saying my mama wasn't tuned in? You saying my grandmama wasn't tuned in either? And what I'm saying is it's time for you to break the curse and get tuned in. Right? My expectation of Legend and Rain is that they are better. Right? Hey, the expectation my mother had of me is that I was better. I don't look at where she maybe didn't get what she didn't achieve with, some level of fault and judgment.
Right.
I say, I thank you for giving me the runway. I thank you for being a good steward. Now it's time for me to go a little further. Right? So then that way, Legend and Rain, my son and daughter, can go just a little bit further. Just a little bit.
Makes sense.
Right? How did I go further? Somebody taught me this.
Taught you.
Now you're listening, you're being taught. Right? My mother, my grandmother, they didn't have the opportunity. By the way, my grandmother on my mama's side is 100. She'll be 103 in September.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Blessings.
Yeah.
Well, diabetes is an irreversible disease, Linnell. So unfortunately, it's insulin for the rest of my days. And I wish I had known now. I wish I had known then, right?
Right.
What I know now.
Right.
Every day, you are putting in strokes on the canvas of your life in terms of how your relationships go, who you be, how you show up, how people relate to you, what doors open, what doors don't. They say your network is your net worth. What does that look like? How is that part when you every morning, every day, when the canvas shows up, how are you painting that? How are you influencing that? How are you creating that? How are you keeping connected? Oh, I don't have any control, man. I'm just, And then this is one of the things we do, so-called black folk. Racism holding me down. We act as victims. And I'm not saying it's not there. I'm not saying that it's not a force that's present. All I'm saying is your ancestors didn't work so hard for you to live the life that you live in with the privileges that you have that are better than any privilege that we've had so far. To focus on what ain't right. They didn't work so hard for you to sit down and feel sorry for yourself so you can focus on what ain't right. They worked hard. They picked up the paintbrush and were attacked by dogs and pushed down by water hoses so that you could have volition and hold your paintbrush. Hold your paintbrush. Many of us, we done dropped it. If the spirit is the source of our power, Dr. Maxwell Maltz, who wrote the book Psycho-Cybernetics, said there's an energy inside the human being that emanates at frequencies that are higher than you can imagine. This is a doctor, right?
Right.
I like using scientists who, they kind of put things out there like, there's this energy. Oh, that energy is the spirit. How do I know? How can you say that, Linnell? Years ago, I've been looking for this reference too, man. This is how resistance works. But there's a German Nobel winner who basically, in his work of science, he looked at the proton and electrons and at the atom overall and said when he got down to the smallest possible areas, he saw rhythm and frequencies and vibrations that only can be explained by some level of universal influence. They don't like to say God.
Right.
Right. Some level of universal influence is at play that is keeping everything in some level of coordination and rhythm. That's how he described it, right? I'll find a speech for next week when we get to propaganda. Propaganda. Okay? Because what propaganda will have you believe is, our cousins are the gorillas and the apes, and we just kind of evolved over millions and millions of years into what we are today. Right?
Right.
They'll have you believe that.
Right.
Like there wasn't some ultimate design in place already. Okay. So, back to the spirit. By the way, if that made you mad, remember, intelligence is the ability to hold two opposing thoughts at one time. Scott Fitzgerald. Okay. So, the spirit, this force inside of you. For those who've taken a trip to Ghana, when we see what our ancestors went through, we see what they survived. It is almost unimaginable to think that anyone is capable of surviving that. There's only one explanation. It's the spirit. It's the spirit. There's only one explanation. How did the ancestors make it through that? They're spirits. There was an activity some years ago in the Elmina dungeons in Ghana where a group of women wanted to pay ode to the ancestors, and they said they were going to lock themselves in the female dungeon for one night, 24 hours, just to pay ode to the ancestors who were there, not for 24 hours, not for 7 days, but often months. And so these women, they locked themselves in this dungeon. Many of them couldn't make it 24 hours. The insect bites, the feces, the urine, all of it had to be done right there in the cell. They couldn't make it 24 hours. Our ancestors made it months, 2 months, 3 months. How does a human being endure that? If not for the spirit, if not for something powerful emanating inside us that causes us to take just one more breath when the physical body wants to give up. How does Muhammad Ali beat George Foreman? It doesn't make physical sense. I can go down the list of things that just don't make physical sense. The spirit. It's the spirit. It's the spirit. And the thing is if you learn how to tune in like Muhammad Ali, you might be able to knock out the George Foreman in your life. Somebody right now, you're up against something, you're saying, I ain't gonna beat that. What I'm telling you right now, you need to adopt the spirit of Muhammad Ali and say it's already knocked out. You're already down. Declare it using your words, spiritual power. Tune in to the spirit and begin to create in your life powerfully. How do you relate to yourself? Do you relate to yourself as powerful?
Yes.
Do you relate to yourself as powerful, Ade?
Yes. Yep.
Are you fully, now I want you to think about this question. Are you fully walking in the power that you have every day? I'm asking the brothers in here. Y'all don't have to answer that. You don't have to answer that. You know why? Because if I answered it, I would say, no, I'm not.
I was going to say no. I was going to say no.
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
Even me. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. There are things that I allow to get in the way. There are times where I might not put the paintbrush down, but I go like this. Oh, what just happened?
Yeah.
Hold the paintbrush up a little bit. I feel like a little I don't like this on the canvas. Right? There are times I give up my power. How does one tune in spiritually? How does one tune in spiritually? How does one really begin to connect with the provider of the canvas? I'll tell you, one of the first steps, get quiet. In a world where there's so much noise, maybe it's time for you to just be quiet. How do you relate to yourself? And to sit with that question. How do I relate to myself? Do I relate to myself as a true child of God with a birthright? Do I relate to myself like that? Do I relate to myself like that every day? If I related to myself like that every day, would my days go the way they go? Would I be where I am? Would I have the job that I have? Would I be doing the work that I do, or is there another work? Would my health be the way that it is? Would my relationships be in disarray? Like if I were truly walking in my power, if I were truly connected. And see, what I'm doing is I'm having you get present to what is. See, when it's time to cast a vision, the first step is to get present to what is. Get present to what is. Well, this is how I relate to myself today, Linnell. How do you relate to yourself today? And then what's the vision for how you relate to yourself from now on? I ain't going to even say tomorrow because this thing is pressing. It's urgent. It's like we don't got till tomorrow to shift how we relate to ourselves. We gotta relate to ourselves like that today. Like it's got to start right now. Like, wait a second. I'm a sovereign. Imagine this. Imagine someone showed up and they said, we've been trying to contact you all day. Titus, we've been trying to contact you. We sent you a few emails, a few text messages. Maybe you thought it was spam. But you have an inheritance. You're somebody. If you didn't know, we look at your lineage. It goes back and it aligns with an awesome treasure. And you need to come with us. Because guess what they're going to say? Here's what they're going to say. We need to teach you who you be.
Yep.
Right? We can't just give the treasure to you.
Yeah.
Right? It's like some folks like, why the money don't show up? Because the creator first needs to teach you who you be. He needs to teach you who you be. So that way, as you begin to relate to yourself as a prince, you begin to relate to yourself as a princess. See, a princess just don't lay down with anybody.
Yeah.
You got to have a certain status. Yeah. You have to have a certain bloodline.
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah? Rain is a princess. Right? She's going to be indoctrinated in a particular way. You understand?
Yes.
Somebody come at her, she's going to be like, no. My daddy is a king.
Yeah.
You understand? Right? Like, you got to understand my daddy is a king, and I can't just bring you home. Right? Because she's going to understand how to relate to herself. And the reason why the first part is tuning into the spirit, tuning into the creator, is because some of us have to be re-educated. You're king, brother. Are you moving like one? You're a king, Ade. A child of the king. Are you moving like one? Are you moving like a child of the king? And think about a king's child, because sometimes a king's child has unrealistic expectations, as we would say. Right?
Right.
Right. I deserve this. Yeah. I deserve the best horse. Right? Well, Linnell, a horse? I deserve the best car. Hold on now, right? Like, because how do you relate with yourself? How do you relate to yourself? How do you relate to yourself? See, and it's one thing, we hear this sometimes on Sunday mornings. It's one thing talking about it. It's another thing teaching people how to be it. I want to teach you how to be it. That's why next week we're going to talk about propaganda, because propaganda's in the way. Propaganda's in the way. Propaganda's lying. Propaganda's telling you all kinds of things that aren't true. We gotta pull back the sheet. We gotta pull it back. Pull the covers back. Nah. How do you relate to yourself? How do we relate to ourselves? Are you proud of who you be?
Ooh.
Every aspect of your being. Are you proud of who you be? See, because the Creator made you different. I shared this before. I'm 6 feet, little under 200 pounds. You know, would I like for my shoulders to be just a bit broader? Do I wish my biceps were just a bit larger? Or am I 100% okay with who I be? 100% okay. Look, I done got up to 300 pounds bench pressing. It ain't gonna change much. This is my makeup. You feel me?
Right.
I done had guys in the gym say, "Oh, bro, you strong." Right? Because it's right with the same frame.
Right.
You remember with the same frame. Oh, you stronger than I thought you were. This is what it's gonna be. But can I be with that? Am I proud of that? Am I okay with that?
Nope.
And then here's the thing. It's different if there's something I can shift and change. Like then, operate in your area of influence. Like if you can influence it, influence it. If you can influence your health, influence your health. If you can lose weight, lose weight. If it's aligned with you living your best life, but not because you want something that ain't yours.
Ooh.
Simply because you want to be your best self. I want to be the best me. I want to be the best me. I want to be the best me in my health. I want to be the best me in my well-being. I want to be the best me in my relationship. So I got to pick up the paintbrush. I want to be the best me in my work. I want to be the best me with my money. I want to be the best me with my purpose. I want to be the best me spiritually. And guess what? Every last one of those aspirations requires sacrifice. Oh, man. No, Linnell, no. Yes. Yes.
Tied to each other.
It requires sacrifice. So the question is, are you willing to make the sacrifice to be the best? Or will you take the road of ease and mediocrity? Will you choose to be a true child of the King? Or will you wallow in the sludge and the mud of mediocrity well beneath your birthright? Well beneath your birthright. That's my gift to you. Now, here's the thing. I've shared it before. There's something freeing in sacrifice. There's a freedom in sacrifice. There's a freedom in discipline. Randomness is the cage. I want to be free. And if freedom requires sacrifice, I'm ready. I'm ready. This morning, how are you relating to yourself? How are you relating to being human? Hey, my inspired peoples. Linnell Harris here, certified ontological coach and trainer. I'm so excited that you're watching the channel. By the way, did you know you can catch the show live at 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. every Sunday morning? You can. All you have to do is go to my Facebook stream, Coach Linnell Harris, catch the stream live, or you can listen to the radio show via iHeart at WVON 1690 AM. But since you're here, if you love the content, I ask that you share it, like this particular video, and subscribe to the channel. I hope you're having a great day.